It sickens me how good this Arsenal team has become. Meanwhile, Leverkusen are completely washed, Endrick's leaving Madrid, and Sweden's own footballing miracle just took place. This is DMAC Daily. Something needs to be done here, folks. I'm being so serious because as a lifelong member of the Arsenal Hate Watch Association, I am deeply troubled by how diabolically good this team is. Prior to kickoff today, everyone was anticipating that this fixture would be the ultimate anti-football clash, but the reality was very different. It was one of the more entertaining games. Arsenal, however, were levels ahead of their Spanish opponents. They absolutely battered Atletico. The same Atleti that recently hit Real Madrid for 5 got rinsed in every department. Forget about Arteta, Nicolas Jover, their set-piece coach, might be the new supervillain of football because he has created a monster here. Another 3 goals via their not-so-secret offensive weapon, but I'm afraid Arsenal's quality goes well beyond dead ball situations alone because they now seemingly have everything. Incredible defensive depth, elite physicality, a proper technician in the middle of the park. This guy, by the way, is ridiculous, and a plethora of attacking options to choose from. And even whilst managing injuries in attack, they're clearly able to cope with that ridiculous backline. Beyond the evident aerial threat, in their 12 outings this season, they've conceded just 3 goals. Only one of those came from open play courtesy of Haaland. That is genuinely terrifying defensive stability. Sure, it is very early in the season. Who's to say Arsenal don't crumble in the months ahead? I mean, they have a pretty good track record of doing exactly that, but I do genuinely fear that this team are only going to get better as the season progresses. Like, if Gyökeres really starts to bang in the goals, then I'm afraid that the most obnoxious fan base on earth are gonna reach astronomical levels of cringe. You thought it was bad already, believe me, it can get so much worse. Focusing on Atletico though, and it's pretty grim out there. Long gone are the days of prime Atleti. Their backline used to be a brick wall. Bar Julian Alvarez, the attack lacks venom, but most distinctively, that resilient ethos seems to have dissipated. Beyond the change in personnel, of which they have clearly downgraded on in the last 5 to 10 years, it's the warrior mentality that is really missing from this group. I'm genuinely unsure now if Simeone can succeed here long term because football has changed. Innovation is required, something that I don't think Simeone is particularly keen on doing. I understand that Simeone's side has invested heavily this summer, ushering in a new era of players, but that fear factor is gone, and I seriously doubt Alvarez will stick around if things don't drastically improve. Elsewhere in the UCL, and this was a crazy match day, 43 goals in 9 games, the most of which came via Germany as Leverkusen were steamrolled by the reigning champions of Europe. The audacity of PSG to hit these guys for 7 on the road. I mean, I know PSG aren't really trying in Ligue 1 right now, but when they lock in, they're borderline unplayable. Between Doué, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Barcola and others, they've got unbelievable forward players, but then you incorporate the wing backs and there's literally nothing you can do. Nuno Mendes is moving like an elite winger. 4 goal contributions in 3 Champions League outings this season. Leverkusen, on the other hand, are down bad. Talk about a fall from grace. I understand they basically had to rebuild their squad, but amongst Europe's elite, they looked like amateurs. As did Olympiacos, having been thumped by Barcelona. Dani Olmo will be sweating no doubt following that masterclass from Fermin Lopez. This man plays like his life depends on it. He isn't the most technically gifted or skillful player to come out of La Masia, but his determination and overall influence continues to grow. A hat-trick in the UCL is another indication that the 25-26 season could be his. That assist from Bargi was absolute filth, but it would actually be another Barca winger that stood out today. No, not Yamal, but rather Rashford. Another brace from the loanee, taking his tally to 10 goal involvements in just 12 games this season. He has quickly become a crucial first-team player at Barca. So many doubted him a few months ago when he first joined. Confidence is everything in football. Barca fans will also be buzzing as 17-year-old Dro Fernandez grabbed his first senior goal involvement on his UCL debut, another academy gem. Staying in Spain, and Manchester City picked up their first UCL away win in a year, having defeated Villarreal 2-0. Erling Haaland scoring in his 12th consecutive game for club and country, equaling CR7's record. The Norwegian now has 27 involvements in 14 games this season. It's actually a joke, and it would be 3 from 3 from English teams as Newcastle made light work of Mourinho's Benfica. The headband is a grim sight, but I can't lie, Gordon is balling out right now. Only Mbappe has more UCL goals currently than the Englishman. UCL finalists Inter have also made an impressive start to the group phase. A dominant 4-0 win on the road to Union Saint-Gilloise to go 3 from 3, having yet to concede a goal. I genuinely rate this Inter team. Not only are they a vastly experienced group, but you've also got the likes of Boni and Esposito coming through an attack. A massive upgrade from the days of Taremi and Arnautovic as backup strikers. Fellow Italians, Napoli didn't fare as well though. They got absolutely destroyed. The first time a Conte team has ever conceded 6 goals. Not even the Scottish GOAT could save them. This was an embarrassing day at the office. Completely outplayed in that second half. I can't envision them doing too much in Europe this season. Over in Denmark, and Moukoko was unable to silence his former club as Dortmund prevailed 4-2 with Mecha and Bellingham running the show. Dortmund just can't stop scoring in Europe. That's 12 goals in 3 UCL fixtures. And of course, the biggest matchup of the evening, the UCL newcomers of Kairat and Paphos held out to a scoreless draw. Old-timer David Luiz with a defensive masterclass kept a clean sheet despite being down to 10 men from the 4th minute onwards. Crazy to see this guy still balling out in the UCL at 38. Shifting gears to another Brazilian, and Endrick is expected to leave Real Madrid on loan in January in a desperate attempt to make the Seleção World Cup squad next year. Remember, the Palmeiras wonder kid signed for Madrid at just 16 in a deal up to 60 million euros, but after just 1 season in the Spanish capital and with first team opportunities becoming increasingly hard to come by under new coach Xabi Alonso, the youngster is looking for an opportunity elsewhere. That's not to suggest he's a flop or anything like that. I mean, he's competing against Real Madrid's biggest star in years. He was always going to be a backup to Mbappe, and in fairness to the Brazilian, he's still shown glimpses of genuine X-Factor talent, but the lack of regular game time is somewhat stunting his development. I think it's in both Endrick's and Madrid's best interests to sanction a loan, because he hasn't kicked a ball all season under Alonso. But regardless of how successful a potential loan could be, that same problem will still inevitably present itself. How does Endrick succeed in Madrid long term? Because Mbappe still has another 5 years minimum leading the line for Madrid. Unless Endrick becomes an absolute world beater soon, I can't envision him having a more influential role than the French superstar. Granted, Rodrigo and Vini Jr. were at a similar level when they first joined Madrid and became eventual superstars, but their competition for places was nowhere near as high as Endrick's, with an aging Bale and a completely washed Hazard out wide. A lot can change in a year or two, but I really do question how Endrick can succeed in Madrid long term, given his unique obstacles ahead. And finally, we gotta quickly talk about Sweden's own footballing miracle. This is an achievement akin to that of Leicester or Bayer Leverkusen, as Mjolby have won the Swedish top flight title for the first time in their history. Based in the rural fishing village of Halivac, home to roughly 1,500 people, this resilient club has gone from battling bankruptcy in the 3rd tier of Swedish football back in 2016 to today, winning the Allsvenskan. Their own stadium is 4 times bigger than the town's population, yet this season they've averaged 4,700 people every match day, having cultivated a fan base from other local regions nearby. With a budget just 15% of Malmö's, the nation's richest club, Mjolby defied all the odds. They only lost 1 match all season, clinching the title with a 2-0 win over Göteborg and sitting 11 points clear of their nearest rival Hammarby. Just 1 more win or 2 draws would even see them break Malmö's long-standing record for most points in a season. To make things even crazier, their manager was a former school principal. Their assistant had never coached previously, but had a PhD in visual perception in elite football. And together, they have cultivated arguably the greatest footballing triumph in Sweden's history, the first ever major trophy in Mjolby's 86-year history. Anyways, guys, that's all for today's DMAC Daily. See you tomorrow.